Hello, 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 hello. Everybody, finally. Um, I promise you, one day we are going to get a camera person that is going to be able to do all of these wonderful things that need to be done. Um, oh, pardon my look right now. But thank you again. Welcome to the Dr. TKO show. It has been truly a pleasure. I know I've been on a very extended hiatus as I had been traveling to Georgia. And I had to help my sister with a few things. For all those who don't know, that I've been semi adopted into a family. And shout out to them. Shout out to you, them. Um, the final part of this series that we were doing, if you recall, we were doing a series on truth. And the final part that we were doing was doors, pathways, portals, and keys. Again, that's doors, pathways, portals, and keys. And the key here in this one that um, the key here in this series is, of course, truth. It is the key that truth, there are many keys. Um, there are many keys. Keys are um, what is described as someone or someone who's in power, position, or authority that has been given, be it spiritual or be it natural, to be able to unlock doors, unlock portals, unlock pathways, or at least in a sense for pathways, it would be to be able to have the key, which means the knowledge from a spiritual perspective to guide you on the pathway to where you need to go. Now, of course, there's many different truths. There is the truth of the truth is that we go to school to get a systemic education. That's a key, and so that information, which is the key, then sends you on a pathway to be able to, in a sense, navigate your course through life. But of course, you know that sometimes what we learn um, has us, in a sense, will always kind of flow in back to where we need to be, or we can take pieces of it um, in order for our purpose and our destiny to be fulfilled. I want you guys to be on the lookout for uh, the book. It'll be called um, Sincerely on Purpose. Sincerely on Purpose. And that would be my book. If you don't recall, of course you do, but just in case, I am Dr. TKO. And um, let's jump right into this. Okay, so let's understand what truth is first. Let's understand that truth is a statement, a declaration, a on in some instances philosophies that turn to be true. And we're coming from that part of the truth. I know that in biblical perspective that Jesus says, I am the way, I am the truth, and I am the light. We know that in other religions that Buddha being the key or the truth to whatever, in their belief system, to nirvana, to all of those things. So there are two different types of truth. And when we talk about truth, I want to introduce to some and offer some extended information. And truth is not just light, and we'll get to that, and it's going to come in, it's going to coincide to what we're doing. Truth is light, truth is life, truth is a spirit, and truth is connected to a few different things like courage, the courage to tell the truth, and the truth inside of courage. Courage has its own truth, and the spirit and the light and the power of courage has its own truth, that, as well as truth has its own courage, especially when it's coming to the process or working through a pathway with courage in order for it to be spoken. A lot of times people have truth, but they don't have the ability to speak it. Sometimes it's either out of courage, but sometimes, then again, on that opposite spectrum, it's out of wisdom. A lot of times that you have the truth, but maybe a person is not in the ability to be able to receive it. Sometimes, in that, you will find yourself wise, and the reward for the truth that you'll be able to give later on down the line would be best given then, so that you know it has fallen on good good ears, good grounds, things of that nature. We live in a world nowadays where truth sometimes can be very diluted, and the way it is done, and we're getting back to these two pathways of truth. And these two pathways of truth is, one pathway says, this is the truth. It's the ultimate truth. It's infallible. It's been here throughout the ancient times. It's been here throughout the ages. It's been here throughout the decades. Been here throughout the moments in time. It is just the truth. These types of truths uh, fall into things such as the laws of nature. The laws of nature. There are infallible truths about the laws of nature. Um, these truths fall into cause and effect. The truth is however you were feeling inside, the cause is what you did. The effect is how you manifested, be it in character, word, deed, signs, wonders, however it may manifest. So we can go on and on concerning that. And then there's, again, as we had talked about before, if you go back through, I believe it's to our Truth series, episode 3. And what we learned is that there could be a truth, but it's a truth that's only temporal. And sometimes this truth is called a deprivation or depravity, because what it does is it deprives you from having all of the information. And so that means you will have a piece of good information, but the rest of it would not be profitable for you. And if you plant the seed in good soil, the ground will get bad and the seed really won't produce anything good in that sense, because what you've planted inside of your mind, the analogy that I'm using, what you planted inside of your mind, and what you have um, believed and became in discipline, is now became the the avenue, the car, the Maserati for your demise. And so we can always get back up and retry again. But a lot of times we have to start with new information. Sometimes the truth, um, for one, can be a foundation truth, and then it can branch off in goodness from there. So let me give you an example of what I mean. If my purpose is to not only just to be able to teach and instruct, and to counsel uh, people and families, and empowerment speaking at churches, things of that nature, at military bases, all those places where I am. The truth is that my pathway is not the same as Les Brown's. My pathway is not the same as Tony Robbins. My pathway, they may have met someone that they have known or been able to be at an intimate setting with, to be able to meet new people and things of that nature. And mine may come through a total different avenue. So, though it's true that we are here, um, at the same place we got to speak at different times, but the avenue from which it came is still the truth, that his is here and this one's here. And remember, we talked about the difference between a fact and a truth. And so that's a little bit more on an intimate and personal level, into more into personal level. And we won't get into that anymore. Um, but I just wanted to give you a little taste, just a little taste. And however you begin to grow, when learning these truths, this will be your truth. This will be your pathway into truth. These foundationals and how you begin to level up in different things. So let's divulge into this. Um, Truth, of course, is not only just affirmed or true, it's verified and confirmed. Let's talk about doors of truth. A door is an opening or closing in communication or agreement. A door, again, is an opening or closing in communication and agreement. When we talk about this door, we talk about an opening or closing. When we open a door, it is typically the door gets to be open in order for you to be let in. And typically, in order to open a locked door, there needs to be a key. And in this key, we need to begin to understand that. Sorry, my phone is ringing. In this door, we need to begin to understand that the key is going to be the truth of first four things. Where? Where are you going? Why? Why are we going through this door? Destiny. What is your destiny in going through this door? Purpose. What is the purpose? Purpose typically coincides with destiny. So a lot of times we'll see a destiny, but won't see the purpose behind the destiny. So here we go walking through a door, and now we're getting ready to either walk on a pathway, and we'll get the pathways. And these things, this is when they typically come together. So we're going to take a pathway in order to get to a place. Or we're coming out from a pathway and we're going out of a door in order to disagree, or we've received everything from that season. Okay, we're going to take it from seasons. Typically, when you're entering into new seasons, you're entering into new doors. Typically, when you're entering into a new form of blessings, be it spiritual or physical or theoretical, it comes through a portal. Through pathways, you're going through a journey. And that means that if you're put on a pathway is a path or a rut or a worn track. That's what a pathway is. A path is a rut or a worn track. So that means that you could be going somewhere and you have to begin to experience either and there's two different types of pathways. There's the pathway again where it's worn, a worn track where it's a way that is paved, that's already either been paved for you or been paved ahead of you, and it's not specifically for you, but for many to go on the journey. And then there are some that are strategically and specifically for you. And then there are some that have already been traveled and it's been kind of worn and rugged. And each one has their own purpose and intent for your life. So, pathways and ruts. Ruts are typically, the indentations of the potholes and on the path. They're typically there in order for you to know how to step over or to be able to still watch, to be aware. Always be aware on your path. Always be aware because you never know what in your pathway as you are travailing to what goods that you need to pick up along the way. Take, for instance, if I'm down an aisle, I'm taking the pathway down an aisle in the grocery store. On my left is rice down at the bottom, but on my right, there is soy sauce. And so I can mix my rice and my soy sauce and then go through the path and hit the chicken and, get a couple other ingredients and make a good chicken fried rice. So, just be careful in the sense on your path because there are always things. It could either be like the Big Bad Wolf, where Little Red Riding Hood is being watched or is about to encounter something that could be detrimental for your next step, or it could be something that's really good that you're being watched on your path. And if you keep going and keep pursuing on your path, eventually you're going to come into a destined place. So let's talk about, now that we've hit pathways, and let's go back to doors really quickly. Opening or closing, communication or agreement. A lot of times when we are talking about communication, we're talking about um, the information and the revelation and the posture and texture of what you need, and texture in the sense of character. Um, that's going to be sweet to people, that's going to be sweet to things that you're going to encounter of good. And when we're talking about communication, communication is, I will always say this is one of my favorite, absolute favorite quotes, that conversation rules a nation. Everything started by thought and by communication. Everything that you can think of that you want, there was an idea first. It was a concept or an idea for everything that was given. And so that means in your mind, in your doorway of your mind, or in the portal side of your mind. Portals typically hit here, doorways typically hit here. Um, in the doorway of your mind, whatever is being able to be entered through has the ability to be able to set up shop. So be careful what you're allowing to be entertained that rents space inside of your mind, rents space inside of your head. Um, because then and only then will you be able to understand the concept of who you are and what you truly like. Why is that? Because whatsoever you think, you become. Whatsoever you allow to cycle through the three parts of your mind, you become, you begin to characterize and modularize after. So, and then you come into agreement with it and come into agreement with it. Be careful what you come into agreement with. Make sure that you have your own process and own thoughts concerning the thing. So many examples I would love to give. I have a friend of mine who grew up actually in a town who was very not appreciative of the African American culture. And when he tells the story, and it's quite funny to me. Um, when he came into the military, he became an active duty naval person, naval gentleman. And when he began to see African American people, it really kind of threw him for a loop. But saying all that to say, um, everything about the module of what he thought began to change. So his what he's seen changed what had already entered into the doorway of his mind, the thoughts that took residence inside, and it changed. And so now he has a couple friends, and um, he's a very good person, a much better person for um, learning. Learning is always great. Being able to learn. Learning teaches you about who you are. Learning teaches you about where you are going, what is the example for your life. And that's a doorway. Learning is a doorway. The truth about what you read is a doorway. False information about what you read through your doorway then becomes who you are, just as well as good learning. Now, let's talk about portals. One of my favorites, portals. Portals are defined like doorways. They're defined as a doorway or an entry point, a spherical opening of light, um, grand or imposing. It transport you from one destination to the next. So a lot of times it's very good to be able to receive good information. Why? Because it transports you from one place to the next. Portals are a two-way street as well. And certain portals can actually transport you from one mind frame to another instantly. Some people have to take pathways to learn. Some people have to take doorways to learn. Some people take portals. And what portals typically does is it s- brings you into a new place of the epiphany, of the light. And so it brings you more from a sovereign place. Usually, when you go through portals, it is typically, I'm going to be stand firm in this 100% of the time when you're going through portals with light. It is from the divine, it is from God, it is from the sovereign Himself. It is the place of being able to transport mindsets, transport blessings, transport even your being from one place to another. That's a whole nother conversation. We can get into it another time if you like. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. If you have any questions, um, please don't forget to email me at holokeriaworks@outlook.com, HOLOKERIA works, WORKS @outlook.com. And if you'd like any services, be it family counseling, life coaching, individual counseling, spousal, and support, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Again, let's get back to portals. Portals of light typically transport you from this place to this place, be it in spirit, thought, mind, soul, deed. Blessings can come through portals immediately. It's the only pathway that cannot, from a sovereign point of view, meaning from a divine point of view, that cannot be interfered with on any level. Um, it is, it is the beauty of being able to have something and to be transmigrated into one place, from one place into the next, uh, from a spiritual and physical perspective. One portal of thinking can actually revolutionize your virtue on the outside and then can be able to draw people to you. And that is actually the way a portal from one place into another then begins to work. Um, yes. So remember that these pathways, these portals, these keys, they are what is necessary in order to move you from one truth to the next, from one place to the next. Um, the key to this, again, we're using the key of truth today. Truth is always the ability to be able to speak a thing that cannot be refuted or negated. It can be now typical. Now, what we can say is that anyone can negate anything, but it would take a fool to go against truth. Truth is always light, and truth always wins. There's no way, it's irrefutable. There's no way around that. Truth always wins. Sometimes in the casualties of between truth and lies, there's there is a death and there's a dying experience that needs to happen. And so you could have the spirit of a thought or the power of a thought that is running through your mind. And when you're on that path of truth, eventually, somewhere between the middle of it, it has to die. This, what you've known as this truth or this fact, has to die in order for you to be able to move and walk in the discipline of this divine truth. So there is no other way around that. You are the avenue that truth wishes to move through. Sovereign truth wishes to always attach itself to someone who is willing and able and has the ability to accept it. I am Dr. TKO, and I want to thank you for listening to this. I'm wishing that we had more time together. So, again, if you want to speak with me, um, and let's interact on Facebook, Halakiria Works um, Halakiria Works HWC, Twitter on Halakiria Wellness HWC, That's the Twitter page. That's the Twitter page. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. What are we going to talk about? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Till next time, everybody. Again, love and light. Wishing you the best. Hope, healing, peace, and prosperity. May it be your portion. May there be divine increase. And may heaven ever smile upon you. May light ever smile upon you and give you ideas to evolutionize this world. And that we come into a place of harmony, love, and light. Till next time, love you all.